Hello, everyone. Welcome back to week 3 of Quarantine Quarrels. We are so excited that you're joining us. And today's a little bit different. My girls aren't going to be with us. I know you're very sad about that. But we are going to take some time with some questions that you guys have sent in via Instagram and Facebook. And let's dive in. So my friend Kathleen, hello. How are you?
Hey, Jenny.
All right, so I brought my computer and I got some questions that we've gotten in, and so I wanted to give you this one, and this wasn't me, I promise.
Okay.
What is the best way for me to motivate my green teenage daughter during this quarantine?
Good question, but I think the key words in this question are during this time. And I would hope that everybody, when they're asking questions, are adding those words to it. During this time, because during this time, it's going to look different for everybody than it does during what we consider normal and what it might look like in our new normal. So for example, right now, greens aren't really looking at clocks. It's either light out or it's dark out, right? They're not really, they don't have school. A lot of people don't have work. So this is a green's dream, right? Is to be able to sleep in and do things on their own time. So we want to remember, always with motivating a green, where they've been successful in the past. We want to remember that motivating them is going to be something they're interested in, is the first thing that's going to motivate a green. So for a standpoint of a teenager, it's a good idea to find out exactly what was their idea of getting their laundry done. And is it, for example, I have a blue-green. When he's here, he gets his laundry done. It's folded, but then he just takes the clothes out of the laundry basket instead of what I would prefer, them in the drawer, and he take them out of the drawer. That's where I, as a parent, and this mom, as a mom, have to decide, especially during this time, is it a big deal that she takes it out of the laundry basket as long as it's washed and folded? And has she sat down with the teenager to talk about what we just said before? What's their opinion about it? What are their ideas? Even your daughter, Riley, that, maybe this question is or isn't her, right?
Isn't. Yeah.
Hey, Riley, what's your idea of taking care of the laundry? Is it okay with you that it's folded and it's left in the laundry basket?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mom, it's fine. As long as they're folded and I put them on, I'm good with that.
Sure.
Is that really something we have to quarrel about?
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. And one of the things you've helped me with a lot, and it's something we've talked about, is how, the greens are people oriented.
Yes.
So focusing it on the people aspect of the task, if you will. Talk
exactly.
a little bit about that.
Well, again, so we're asking them their opinion. Greens do well when they do things in their own time frame. So that's another thing, this mom. Yes, I'll do my laundry. As long as you get it done sometime today, or as long as you get it done sometime this week. That's another part of the green. Then there's a thing where if they're not truly interested about doing laundry, they are interested in their parents. These are kind, good kids that usually are pleasers, and they don't want to cause disharmony in the family. So if they think not doing their laundry is disappointing their parents, then we want to talk to greens about their interest may not be in doing laundry, but their interest is in loving their mom better. So in order to love their mom better, she's going to put her laundry away. It's like a switch that has to flip in a green's brain, that it moves it from a task to a people-oriented event or situation that happens. And they do it more because of how they care about the person than actually checking off a task. You see?
Absolutely. Yes, that's fantastic. And that really helped us when you were coaching us and my daughter Riley, because it's so true. So, well, let's go on to our second question.
Sure.
We're going to leave the greens for a minute. So this question, number 2, is I'm a red, but acting more green in quarantine. Why would that be?
Well, my first question to that person would be, what exactly, I would want them to tell me what they consider a green activity or a green character trait. Is it because they're more relaxed or they're more calm? Because remember, one of the misconceptions of temperaments that gets confused with personality is that not one temperament owns all behavior. So this could be a red that's taking advantage of this time. A red that's healthy, they can relax in their strengths. They can focus on the people around them. They can encourage others and be good listeners. Really what happens is sometimes the reds become their own worst enemy because they have no boundaries and innately they feel like they have to get something done. So if this person is feeling like what needs to be done is I have to pay attention to my family, I'm going to sit and watch a movie, right? What they're doing is they're learning that what's being accomplished is maybe internal instead of external, which for a red could be wonderful. That's really what moves reds from weaknesses to strengths and makes them that dynamic leader that they're wired to be.
That's fantastic. It makes me think of, on the I Said This, You Heard That, the videos, the teaching, the coaching that you did. There was a part where Leslie, the red woman, says that when she's sick, she's actually relieved. It's almost the excuse that she doesn't have to get something done because she's sick. And so she allows herself to just rest and be sick. And so what you're talking about kind of reminded me of that moment in the study. So,
yes. And that's great because that's somebody who's really understanding that in their strengths, they can be calm, relaxed, give them self-favor. You know, they don't always have to be outwardly producing or accomplishing something.
That's awesome. All right. I love it. Let's go on to number 3. And this one probably will speak to you a little bit, but okay. I don't know if it's a mom or dad but it says, how can I be honest about the state of our country, but also not scare my 8-year-old son, who I am sure is blue?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Blues are naturally going to go to worst case scenarios. That's what they do. However, most of the time, that's not necessarily a bad thing for a blue. Especially if you can play the what if games with a blue, then they can feel like they're prepared, that they can plan and prepare and get through any situation. So for an 8-year-old, I would talk to them about science. I would talk to them how people have been successful, like doctors and researchers, and how they have learned to get through other illnesses and other viruses to prevent it from happening again. And then talk to that little blue. They're wired to plan and research and strategize. How can they be a part of the solution? Maybe wash their hands or teach their little brothers or sisters to wash their hands. How can they be a good example so that they can show other people how to get through it? Blues love data, but they love to know that it leads to something. So these open-ended things with blue people, even blue adults, isn't necessarily a good thing. You want to be able to give it some direction of what they're going to accomplish with it. And remember, I've always told you, we have to empower the blues no matter if they're 8 or an adult with a plan B, right? So they're wired, their brains are wired to prepare. They're wired to see the obstacles, and they will be successful if they have a plan B. So again, especially with children though, at this time, Jenny, we have to be reading over the lists in the book of their strengths, because this is a little child that you could also redirect into creativity, art, music, so that they're they know the world's more than just what the crisis is right now.
So one of the things I've heard you say before is that we as adults, knowing the temperaments and me knowing that I'm yellow and that I might exaggerate or just have a flippant comment, I did this the other day and I even know better, but it just, your natural temperament comes out, right? I was outside and some of the kids in the neighborhood were playing and I was like, oh my gosh. And I said hi to my neighbor. I'm like, how are you doing? I mean, we're just waiting for the world to fall apart. And I saw this little kid like on his bike kind of stop and like look at me. And I thought, oh dear.
Yes.
I think for us to be aware, especially you yellows out there that just say something, we might have a little 8-year-old blue that's listening that we can derail them by a comment. So
yes. And this is a perfect example of innocent miscommunication.
Right.
Most communication isn't intentional.
Right.
But I think what we're trying to do with I said this, you heard that, is we're trying to flip it to think, what does another person need to hear so I can be more conscientious and intentional in what I say? So it doesn't even have to be unwholesome, but something that will put another person into a tailspin. We have to remember that how powerful words are. And literally, I can remember being terrified of the story of the sky is falling. There's a children's book about that. And I can remember as a little being terrified of that book. So because we take things so literal, but again, the communication teaching falls on both sides. It's not just the yellows' responsibility not to elaborate and exaggerate. You do want to watch your words, but it's also the responsibility of the blues not to see everything in such black and white, right? And that's where we start to lean into each other's communication and the differences.
That's good. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on. Question number 4. My red husband is driving us all crazy. If he isn't working, he is planning home projects and making us all participate. He can't sit still. Help. I want to still be married once we can leave our homes. Help this wife out, Kathleen.
Well, what's so interesting, Jenny, is that what I'm finding is people would think that the greens and the blues are having the easiest time with this crisis in quarantine. And that's true. The one that's having the hardest time is the reds. And they're having the hardest times with this being told to stay home and being told they have these boundaries, because every bit of their wiring, again, is to accomplish something and be productive. So we have to I would coach this wife to sit down with her husband and say that the family wants to be loyal. They want to pitch in. But remember, what I work with reds is that everything on their list is priority. He wakes up with a list and everything is top priority. So for her to sit down and say, honey, you do so much for the family. I cannot believe you built that treehouse in 3 days. The kids are loving it. Today, let's look at your list of ideas. What 2 are really important to you? Because if we know we can be loyal and we can rally around you and we can get on board, and that will have him hear loyalty, appreciation, credit for work. He'll have a sense of control. But this is where innate needs is really important, in the fact that he also has to understand his family. If they're not all reds, then there's other temperaments that have to have some downtime, that building a treehouse may not be fun. I mean, playing in the treehouse may be fun, but not building the treehouse, right? So it's also, hopefully when he's watching this quarantine quarrel, some aha moments are going off, that he can realize that, oh, I also have to be responsible to give my wife some downtime, or let my son pick the game we're going to play. You see? So there's a balance, and that's going to help him with sense of control as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have a red as well, and they talk in bullets when they want to get stuff done. So
Yes.
I found myself just responding a little bit because they can take it. I feel like I'm being very direct, but I can be like, we're not going to do that. This is what we're going to do. And this is when, like, boom. And
Efficient.
it goes better. So they can handle it.
They absolutely can handle it, and they absolutely prefer it because it's efficient. And and unlike all the other three temperaments, the reds are not motivated and usually don't function out of fear. They function out of efficiency. So they're, even during all this going on, they're looking to protect their family, be the most efficient with their time, right? And they're still going to get stuff done. So the bullet points, they probably will appreciate that more than anything.
Yeah, that's how we can love our reds.
Exactly.
In bullets.
Exactly. Just let them know what's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go on to the next question. So what advice do you have for me as a blue mom to a 9-month-old, 3 and 5-year-old? I do not have a minute to myself and I feel like I'm drowning. Oh, blue mom, I feel you. I was in that stage and I know how hard that can be. I think regardless of what color you are,
yes,
young kids back to back being stuck all at home is tough. But what specifically could you say to this blue mom?
This is another great question, because I want to be clear on something we really, parents especially, get stuck on, and that is looking out towards our children. This mom, in no time at all, is going to be on a reserve tank unless she starts to understand her own wiring first. If she can understand her own wiring first, and she can give herself support and sensitivity in space and silence, and that's where she's saying, I'm having a hard time getting that, right? Well, maybe it's when the baby goes down for a nap, we have the other two watch a short movie, or, they have something that they can play with or listen to so that she can get 15 or 20 minutes to herself. This is also, if she's blue, this is hard. We have a very hard time asking for help. This is a mom that might need to ask for help if there's not another parent. If there is another parent, they have to sit down and talk, because if she continues to work off a reserve tank, there's going to be a big meltdown, because you cannot give what you don't have. So we want to make sure we're asking for help. Is there somebody that can Zoom and read to their children, or have a Zoom play date? Or is there a family member that's can stay, 6 feet or follow the rules, but can come over and give her just 30 minutes to have some space and silence so that she can recharge? And there's nothing wrong with sitting down with these kids at 3 and 5 and explaining to them her needs.
Well, now the next question goes on, and we're going to be talking about a yellow man. So a yellow husband usually travels for work, and I am blue and the one in charge of things around the house. No travel equals husband home all the time. What is the best way to set us up to work together? He thinks this is party time, and our 3 kids need to be homeschooled, and I need some downtime. Help this blue wife and a yellow husband, which you've always said, opposites attract.
Attract. Well, here's the thing too. This is also happening with a lot of yellows, is that they're looking at this time as more fun and vacation instead of what it truly is. We're still having to work and do homeschool and get things done. So there's that first realization that's probably starting a lot of quarrels, that this isn't time off for a lot of people. But look at this dad. He's a traveling dad, and now he gets to be home with his family. So I would encourage the blue mom to really think, okay, this could be such a silver lining for a time like this. He could have time with those children that he misses when he's traveling. So maybe they can sit down again, like we had talked about earlier, validate each other's needs. Let her see tell him what the schedule is for support and sensitivity to get the kids through homeschool. And then they can go out and play with him in the backyard that they don't get to do when he's traveling. And when they're playing with her, she can have space and silence. So again, when they lean into each other, they can fill each other's innate needs, and it can be a win for everybody. But it's just recognizing he loves spontaneity, he loves fun, he loves connecting with his family, and he doesn't usually get this. So looking for the silver linings in some of this time, I would hope that we wouldn't miss these moments.
Yeah. Well, and I think when I've had to navigate things between my blue and yellow, doctors, like you've helped us, kind of sandwich it as far as like the positives of what's going on, but then the needs of the blues, because McKenna and Addie would struggle a lot in some of their communication. And so I could see this wife saying all those things like, this is so exciting and you're home, and, kind of speaking his language, but then also infusing in the conversation, hey, but I'm overwhelmed. Remember, even in the I Said This, you heard that study that when there was this aha moment that I had between Andrew and Tony, and they were talking about it, and Tony said, well, make that about you. It was kind of like the yellow was too much, and he was talking about his yellow friend or roommate that was too much. And he was like, how do I communicate that? And Tony said, gosh, if you could make it about you, you're overwhelmed, you need structure, you need quiet, and not make it be that I'm too much or I'm unstructured or whatever. I thought that was really good advice.
That's great advice. And it goes into the innate needs. It's really, telling the husband how great it is that he's around and what a silver lining and a gift it is that the kids can now spend extra time with him. And again, I want people talking both ways about their innate needs, because she can even say, and honey, gosh, that's going to allow me some free time that I don't usually get, some silence and some space that I crave when you're out on the road.
That's great. All right, let's go on to our next question.
Okay.
It says, we have a newborn. Getting to work from home is a blessing because I get to be at home with my son and wife. However, my wife is green and is not setting a schedule at all. We are exhausted. How can I help if there is no schedule or any expectation of when our son will eat or sleep? So he didn't indicate what temperament he was, but I could guess maybe.
Yeah.
I would love.
What would you guess?
I might guess blue.
Yeah, I would probably guess blue just because of the wording. Because remember, we're listening to understand.
Right.
And people will talk right out of their temperament.
Right.
So here's the thing again, we're going right back to what I love, and that's every behavior, every word, every action is off innate needs. So this mom, if she was on her own, she could probably function with no set schedule. I mean, she and the baby would just kind of be in big chill. They would eat when they wanted. They would sleep when they wanted, right? But there's another person involved. So again, this is where we have to communicate. And he could say, kind of like what you said in the last question, he could let her know that, gosh, as much as you can take this easy and you keep such calm in such a chaotic house of a newborn, it would really help me to help you if we had some kind of schedule. What's going to happen is if they look at that and come up with a schedule, I think the green mom is going to even be more relieved once the schedule's in place, because it takes kind of some of the responsibility off her. And remember, if anything that is interesting looks like it's starting to become work for a green, then it's going to start to become difficult for them. So this could end up very much being a win-win for both of them.
Sure.
Right? But again, if she never had a schedule, she might just be fine. So it's him letting her know, hey, this would help me help you. And it would really help me function better as a dad if I had a schedule. And I think it would be good for our son too. Or I don't know if he said a son. Yes, a son. Until they find out what temperament the little boy is.
Yeah.
That's even going to change everything. But the woman is so good with harmony, calmness, kindness. And he sounds like he's very good at strategy and planning.
You were talking, I just had that visual of the Jerry Maguire movie. When he's like, help me, help you, help you. So I feel like we can sum that question up. Help me, help you. Well, and you have helped me so much through the years. It's been such a blessing. And we put all of this information because not everybody could go meet with you in your office. Right. And so we put together that 6-week study. I said this, you heard that. And for those people that are going to be like, how do I get in Kathleen's office? Like, I know you always say, hey, there's probably a good 12 weeks worth of material that you could go through in that 6 weeks of content.
Yes.
And it's really all of the best nuggets that you've got to share. So we are thankful that you took the time to actually put it down so we all could have access to just such great content.
Well, you are welcome. It is something that if they will go through the videos and they will go through the book, it is so well done and so foundationally strong that it will start changing every single conversation and relationship long before you ever meet me.
That's right.
Right?
Good. Well, and look who just came to say goodbye. I know so many people just came, but so we got a haircut since last time. But anyway,
very nice.
Kathleen, thank you for being with us.
Thank you
for tuning in and wanting to speak kindly and learn about this. And we hope that this has been helpful. And if you haven't binged all of the videos, they're all available on this YouTube channel, and we hope that they'll be very helpful. And I will see you soon. I hope to give you a big hug, my friend, my blue friend, Kathleen.
I will hug you back.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us. If you will subscribe to this YouTube channel, we will continue to be uploading new content over the next days, weeks, and months. So we'll see you soon.